Sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, so hi, Team Timmons here, and we are interviewing our wonderful, amazing, superlative broker, Mr. Mark Chittister. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Tired.
Oh, living the dream. Get to be here all the time.
3 uninterrupted weeks with just your spouse is wonderful.
It's not so bad. We work together all the time, so.
Yeah.
That's right. You do get to spend a lot of time together.
Yes. But we wanted to break up the monotony and have a chat with you about all of the crazy stuff that's going on in real estate, or more accurately, the nothing that's going on in real estate. So since you're much smarter than both of us, can you maybe explain like the timeline of what's happening and like what that means?
Sure. And I think it's best to go back to March 19th when the governor declared all non-essential businesses were to remain closed. As of his announcement at 5 o'clock that night, it went into effect at 8 o'clock that night, and we fell under that list of non-essential businesses in real estate. So none of us really knew what that meant right off the bat, other than our office was closed. So we all had to dig in for a couple of days trying to figure out what he really meant by that. And ultimately, he meant no in-person real estate activities could take place. So that meant not only was our office closed, but all of our agents were shut down from doing anything that required them to be in person somewhere other than their home, which meant no showing homes, no open houses, no meeting with clients, no meeting with buyers, no meeting with sellers to walk through their house to list their home. So it really did pull the rug out from underneath us real fast. And we've been in this state for 3 weeks now, which it's hard to believe. So we've really had to adapt in being able to use some of the tools available to take our business virtual. And buyers and sellers, for the most part, are kind of riding this out just like the agents are. If they don't absolutely have to move right now, it seems like most of them are willing to wait a little bit.
Yeah, most of the conversations I've had with people, they don't like the idea of buying a house without seeing it, or it's like buying a car without test driving it. It just doesn't sit well for them.
Yeah, which definitely makes sense. It's a huge investment. It seems that the people that are willing to do it, for the most part, before the rug got pulled out from underneath us, we all know what the business was like. It was a true seller's market. If you got a listing, you were getting multiple offers, you were negotiating hard to get your seller the highest and best price, which oftentimes was over the list price. And what we're finding now is those buyers that were frustrated with losing out on those houses are still willing to write an offer right now, sight unseen, knowing that there is limited competition. And in general, a buyer in that position where they're buying a home, it's probably just a stepping stone anyway. It's not going to be their forever home. So they'd be willing to buy a home sight unseen, knowing that they're only going to be there for a couple of years, and we'll be able to turn around and hopefully sell it when the time comes for them to move on.
Awkward pause. Yeah, and I think a lot of them are also putting contingencies in there where they can terminate the contract once seeing it. I just personally am not sure how any contracts are going to move forward when at the moment inspectors can't inspect homes. Appraisals are kind of in the air. They're allowed to do them. Some of them drive by, some of them pictures.
Well, now I've heard about some people, and this may have changed since we've seen it last, but some people, like inspectors, saying that they've gotten waivers. Like, so I guess a lot of businesses early on had the ability to apply for waivers from the governor's office to be like, hey, we're life sustaining and here's why. It seems like that hasn't applied to real estate at all. So do you know of Like, why can't
Sure.
we do that? I guess he closed the waivers though.
Yeah, the waiver application period was only for a certain small window of time where you could even apply for the waiver, and you needed to have some idea of safety precautions that you were going to implement. And for the most part, the waivers that I'm aware of that relate to real estate activities are really just for real estate offices to have people in the office doing work and practicing all the safety measures and social distancing, et cetera. As far as I know, nobody has a waiver to actually be out showing homes.
They don't.
Okay,
They
that
don't.
makes more sense. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're in an industry that everybody likes to promote the fact that they're an independent contractor and nobody can tell them what they can and can't do. So we have run into agents who are still calling our office or our listing agents and requesting to show homes. As recently as Friday morning, I spoke to one of our agents who called me and said, hey, I got a call that somebody wanted to show my listing, and you told us we're not allowed to have showings, which is based on the governor's mandate. But the agents are trying to say, well, others are doing it, so I thought I'd check and see if you'd let me do that. And
well, if everyone jumped off a bridge, come on.
right. Well, but it seems like we have to self-police that. That's the only option that's out there. The governor came out with these rules and these mandates, and we have to follow those. But what's the penalty if we don't follow them? Nobody really knows what that is.
Right.
And until they start fining or arresting people for breaking the rules, there's not a whole lot of penalty out there. Even the news keeps promoting the fact that these businesses that are open in violation of the order have received warnings, and they promote how many warnings were given. But warnings aren't enough to get people to really make the change. And it is important to do this so that we can all get back to business as usual.
So while we're in, because I feel like Chris and I have been kind of broken records with the people that we've been talking to. So a fresh perspective, real estate is put on pause right now. Most sellers and buyers, like you said, have been okay with kind of like pausing and writing this out as of right now to see where it's at. What do you think, sellers should be doing, or buyers? What do you think our clients should be doing in this waiting time, just to kind of like be as prepared as possible? Because a lot of what I've seen people speculate in the industry is once we get the green light again and everything is back to normal, there's going to be just a mega surge of spring, well, probably summer market now, which is going to be crazy. So I think
it's going to even field out.
Do you think it's going to, well, I want to know what Mark thinks. What do you think it's going to be like? Predict the future, and also what should we do to prepare for it?
Well, if I was looking into my crystal ball,
okay.
I'm always an optimist. You guys know that I believe in the power of positivity, and positive thoughts bring positive results.
Yeah.
So I do believe that once we are allowed back out there is going to be this pent-up demand, and we should see that spring market hit in the summer. Unfortunately, there is going to be a lag time, I think. I know I saw you interviewed Beth with Fremont recently, and she gave a lot of really good insight. And with the changes in the mortgage business, even as this was all taking place, rates started, doing this real fast because nobody knew what was going on. And I think as we come out of that, we're still going to see that. Nobody's really sure. So there is going to be that lag time. There will definitely be the pent-up demand for all those buyers that were waiting. And hopefully there's enough seller inventory coming on the market to meet that demand, because we were in a situation where there weren't enough listings for all the buyers going into this. The big thing that my crystal ball isn't really showing me is how the economy is going to rebound, and all those people that are hopefully temporarily unemployed, how quickly they're going to get back to work. That's going to be the number one factor for buyers to be able to buy homes, is they need to have employment. They need to have cash on hand. They need to have the reserves that Beth was talking about. And the longer this goes on, the more those reserves are being used for the everyday necessities like food and shelter right now, especially if they're out of work. But as we come out of this, the quicker everybody gets back to work, the quicker the mortgage industry can kind of stabilize what their parameters are, then buyers will know where they stand. So your question there about what can buyers and sellers be doing right now, definitely buyers should be talking to their lenders, keeping abreast of those changes so that they know what their options are as they come out of this, which I think Beth did a good job explaining all of that. And from a seller standpoint, now's a great time to look at your house like a buyer. Look at it through a buyer's eyes. What needs to be fixed? What are those little things you lived with that you would fix in order to sell your home? Now you have time to do that.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, Lowe's and Home Depot are still open, so you can go get what you need. If you need to repaint, if you need to fix or repair cabinet doors that aren't opening and closing like I recently had to do.
Replace the garbage disposal. Hang up the shelves. The honey to-do list is just, it's getting long.
That's what she said.
Christopher.
Yeah, but so definitely if you're a seller and you're considering putting your home on the market, or you're in that area where you're going to wait or ride this out a little bit, now's the time to really prepare your home for the sale, so that when you come out of this, you can be one of the first ones back on the market, because there will be a lot of buyer eyes on homes when we can physically show them again. Not to say that there aren't buyer eyes on homes right now. I mean, these virtual showings are working. So we're not totally shut down. We just need to change and adapt with what we're able to do. And I think you're going to see the technology that's being utilized right now, even as we come out of this, people will still need to adapt and utilize this technology, because it's not like the doors are going to open like they say. You're not going to flip the switch and say, okay, it's back to business as usual. There's going to be a slow rollout of who can get back to work and who's comfortable going into a stranger's home, after all of this. Until there's a vaccine for this COVID-19, people are still going to have to take the precautions that they've been taking all along to keep it from spreading.
So being a little higher up in the food chain than us average agents, do you think there's going to be an extension? Do you think come April, January, March, April, May 1st, we're going to be allowed to go back to work? What do you think? Again, crystal balling it.
Right. Crystal balling it. I am, again, optimistic and hopeful that I know the National Association of Realtors, the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors, they are pushing hard into the ears of anybody in the government that will listen to the fact that we should be considered essential. For the governor of Pennsylvania to say we're non-essential, but the federal government to put out a list and say real estate is essential, those two contradict each other. And we, in my opinion, should be following the federal mandate, not the state mandate. But that's not the way it works. So I am optimistic and hopeful that by May 1st, we will be able to be considered essential and be one of those that gets to start going back to work. But like I said, we still need to be conscious of stopping the spread of this for the long term. So we will have these safety measures in place with the social distancing and probably masks and gloves and booties for the shoes, and don't touch anything when you go in the house, some of those things. And that's another thing, only the purchaser should be the one looking at the house, not bringing their entire family, their cousins, their parents, their even children. We all know how children get when they get into other people's homes. They like to touch everything. And as an agent, it's hard to round them all up and keep them from touching things. So I think we will see some changes, but there'll be positive changes as we come out of this.
That's why I like talking to you. You're smart and always like, hey, everything's cool. You're like the Mr. Rogers of real estate.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't always feel that way, but
You do a good job. Well, thank you very much for all of your insights and talking to us and keeping us entertained for like 5 minutes.
hey, my pleasure. Anytime. It's always good to see familiar faces. I'm kind of tired of seeing the same 4 faces and my dog. So good to see you guys. Hang in there.
All right. See you, Mark. Love you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
I stop recording.